All right, just a brief run through with the gear rig system, and just gonna apply this make the gear rig guide template match the character that we got from the modeling class for Minyins. So simply start off with gear. Open up the gear panel here. Our version, depending on what they installed, may be a little bit different, but you can basically find the tools in, hold on a second, should be under character guide tools. Here it is. So open up guide tools, and the templates are here. So click on man guide, import that, and it looks like this matches the character of the kid model pretty well. So give that a second to load. And right off the bat, I'm going to go to the layer panel here, select the entire guide, and call this one guide layer. And right off the bat, let's create a new layer and call this one rig layer. And a new layer too. Actually, it'll create a new layer when we import the mesh, so let's minimize that. Let's go to merge, and we'll merge the Minion kid base here. So the Minion base version 3, we'll do that probably in class. Let's open up the Minion kid base. Not a bad match, actually, right off the bat. That comes in, I think it's under its own, yeah, there it is. Pops in under its own layer. So that's layer default 1, which we'll call mesh. Okay, let's select that, turn that selectable off. So now we can see it, but not select it. And we'll move the guide down to where the waist is. And you guys can do this kind of on your own. You take the initiative and put objects where you think the hip bone would be, for example, where the pelvic region would be. Get that to match really well. I'm just going to do one side here. In fact, I'm going to middle click this left leg, or his right leg, sorry. Delete that. I'm going to go to this shoulder and arm set of bones, middle click that and delete it, and just ignore that side. Now let's take this base shoulder unit, let's pull that up a little bit higher to about there. Could even pull this up a little bit as well. This is the parent of this, the shoulder base there. These are the parents, and this is the object that is parent to. So if I'm going to move, instead of moving this part around, which will give me an offset from its parent, in this case I don't really want that, I'll move its parent instead. And you can see that realigns that object. This component here includes this object, this bone, and then its end, which is that guy there. So let's take this and align this shoulder unit like that. Let's pull it forward a little bit. And if I'm moving these joints here, I prefer, and this may not be required, to switch to its parent space. Should be, oh, it's got to be in the move position. Move parent. So it moves that relative to its parent object, which lengthens the bone. I think I could move this back like this. It wouldn't be too bad for this kind of bone system, but I don't like to move it off angle like that. That just is a bad kind of a setup for an IK system. I like to keep those all in a single plane. So let's do that, and again, to rotate this to move the hand, and again along the parent axis to pull this hand shorter. Let's zoom in a little bit tighter here and take a look at this metatarsal set of bones. This whole part here is a metatarsal that goes across the hand object. That you can see this is the arm bone here. It goes from the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and then there's a little element out here. But I believe this is linked actually to that, the wrist bone. It's not mistaken. So just don't be confused and move this guy around here. I don't think it'll really matter too much, but that's part of the arm bone. So ignore that. This set of fingers here, you can see right there, that set of fingers is linked to this part of the metatarsal. This set of fingers here is linked to that portion of the metatarsal, and this is linked to that, and this one we don't need, so middle click, delete. It's a 3-fingered guy, and you can pull this part of the metatarsal, this metatarsal out like that, or you might even be able to delete it like that, and we'll test that out and see if that works. I'm going to pull this metatarsal out this way a little bit, which also moves the fingers, just to get a little bit more spread across that hand. And you can turn this on to X-ray, excuse me, X-ray mode, and see right through the set of bones. Might be more useful. And let's pull that in and down, and pull this right where that knuckle is supposed to be, which is just in a little bit. And I don't think they really cupped the hands as much as they could have, but live and learn, right? So I'm going to pull that a little bit more flat, which I think is not exactly right, but let's just work with the meshes we have. Now, I don't think it's going to hurt anything to have this extra bone out here. I think we're just going to bend this one time here and not have that real subtle curling of the fingers, which is kind of a real kind of simplistic curvature. I don't know, maybe we'll decide to actually adjust the mesh a little bit on some of these characters if we feel we need to. But for now, let's just leave it. Okay, and again, I like to rotate these guide tools to where the knuckles ought to be. Let's rotate that one down, and just pull this out again along the parent. All right. Again, I think these tool sets really make rigging fun. So. Is kind of the fun part of animation, if you have the right tools that are built and designed the way you want them. They'll allow you to really customize the rig just the way you need. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, thumb's a bit of a challenge because depending on how they modeled it, the angle may or may not be completely the way things are in real life, but it's kind of a cartoon character, so let's flatten out the angle of this thumb. By default, it's, you know, comes in a little bit more cupped, so the thumb angle's downward, but these are kind of coming in sort of flat, but that's pretty good. Not too bad. So let's pull that way. And again, there's one extra joint here, but typically there's only one extra, there's only a couple joints there anyway. Could put this back here and then put the first knuckle here, the second knuckle there. That'll give you a bit more flexibility, some more cupping available, you know, possible in the hand area. Okay. Kind of broke with my usual technique of keeping those axes straight. I probably should. I think when it creates the bones, it takes the preferred angle based on the angles that you create these things. So it's good to always bend these a little bit towards the angle you want them to end up at.